All right. Hi, everyone. We are Southern Crescent Women in Business. I am Ariel Shaw. I'm the founder and president. Today we have Leah Brown from Henry County Development Authority. Leah, ready to say hi?
Glad to be here.
And we have Amy Love with Invest Atlanta. And I want to allow the ladies to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about what specifically their entities do, and then their roles within that entity. So, and specifically, how are you guys, if at all, able to assist small businesses, especially in light of this time? So many of you all, if you did attend the funding pitch that we hosted in August, will remember both of these ladies actually. Amy Love was on our judges panel, and so she has recently taken a role with Invest Atlanta, so we're excited about that. So congratulations. Leah Brown, they were actually a sponsor, the Henry County Development Authority, for the funding pitch, so she was there as well. And they're also on our videos. So if you have visited our website, Southern Crescent Women in Business, even if you visited Henry County, they were still there and they're listed, and you can hear them and see them as well. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Leah. Let's start with you.
Sure. So Leah Brown with the Henry County Development Authority. I've been with the Development Authority for 10 years now, and my current role is I direct our established industry program, which essentially means I'm responsible for making sure that the businesses that already call Henry home have the tools and resources that they need in order to grow. I also direct our marketing efforts for the Development Authority. And for many, I know, the Development Authority is just kind of this word out there, and you might not be as familiar with what we do. But our goal and mission is very simple. We work to recruit new industry to Henry County, and we work on behalf of the entire county. Of course, you have municipalities and departments within each city that focus solely on the cities, but we serve all of Henry. And our goal is to recruit new investment into the area, but also work with our existing companies to help retain those companies and help them to grow and expand. So I think that's a very just concise way of explaining what we do.
Okay, awesome. Amy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Invest Atlanta is investing in the people and companies and community in the city of Atlanta. And we are also a development authority, and have the mayor of Atlanta as our board chair, and appointed members that approve all of the financing for the city. And I am part of the team that supports the business incentives, and that ranges all the way from small business to what Leah touches around existing businesses and business attraction. My focal area is the innovation, tech, and entrepreneurship space, which I think is the most fun. And especially right now when everybody needs to be innovating and trying to use technology to get through this really tough time. And that really just sums it up. I won't get into all the details until Ariel's ready for me to.
Actually, I am, because I know you
Okay.
have to jump off early.
Okay.
So,
well, sure. So I'll just share with you high level. Invest Atlanta was able to work really quickly to put together what we call the Business Continuity Loan Fund. And it is the applications for this fund are currently closed, although we do have our eye on trying to get more funding for it. And it's focused on businesses that are in the city of Atlanta. The goal of this fund was to really support small businesses that needed help with payroll and paying rent. So the stipulations are pretty flexible. And as you can imagine, it was quite popular. In fact, I asked our comms team for some stats, because I think it's really, in a way, it's sort of devastating to realize that this many companies needed the support, but we had 551 inquiries and we've initiated almost 300 applications at this point. We're hoping that the jobs impact of potential saved and retained jobs is about 1,100, a little over 1,100 jobs. And we had a lot of interest from the women-owned businesses. So the percentage of either women or minority-owned businesses that applied and was 70.4%.
Yep.
So in many ways, this is sort of a mixed, you have mixed feelings about it, because you realize there is so much need out there, but also that we are going to be able to support a lot of companies, and particularly the smaller ones that really need it most. The original fund was $1.5 million, and the loan amounts capped at $30,000. The nice thing about this loan program is it's 0% interest, and with deferred payments for, I believe, up to 6 months to a year. So somewhat similar to the small business opportunity through the payroll protection plan. We launched ours shortly before that came out, and another thing that we have been doing at Invest Atlanta is trying to raise awareness of the opportunities that are out there and help companies understand this SBA opportunity. As you all have probably read, that fund ran out of money on yesterday. So there's headlines about that. And what I'm hearing in the community, particularly in the technology community that I'm working with and entrepreneurs, is that the federal government is working toward a release of another round of funding. But I think a lot of the companies that were going after that money were getting notices that, that there wasn't any left. So it's been, I think, a frustrating process for small business. So what we try to do is just keep our attention focused on how we can help at Invest Atlanta. And for your information, it's open to anyone. We, in my group, in the technology entrepreneurship group, we have launched a weekly series together with some of our Atlanta area partners. And we try to bring in experts and people with very timely information around the COVID pandemic and how that information can be helpful to entrepreneurs, and particularly startups and scale-ups and people who have founded growing companies. And the first session that we hosted was really very specific around the SBA funding that had just come available. And the second one, we chose a theme that was a little more around how to take care of yourself and your employees and your families if you were to get sick. So we brought in someone who had created what he called the COVID-19 family plan, essentially outlining all of the things that people can do if they get sick and how to prepare. And then yesterday, we did our third session, and we brought in the founder of Georgia Alive, which is an initiative that you all might want to plug into, touching the entire state, founded and funded by a lot of entrepreneurs that are well known in the Atlanta area. And its goal is to try to promote saving lives and keeping people safe and informed. There's a lot of data that they're collecting so that people can stay informed. They have a marketing campaign around stay at home. And then they've also got, they have created access for companies that are doing innovative things related to solving problems of the COVID crisis, so that those entrepreneurs can connect into resources. So if you go to the Invest Atlanta Facebook page, all of the sessions are there. And we do them every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. So you can we record them, so you can go and check them out now if you like, and feel free to email me if you have any questions about it.
Are you placing these on YouTube, Amy? Because I know we have a resource page, so we try to pull in things specifically that we think would be great. Okay, so that you are.
Yeah, they're on YouTube, and they're also on our site, on our Invest Atlanta Facebook site. Okay. And then there was a couple of other things I wanted to share with y'all, like resources that I've learned about for female business owners. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Ariel,
say that again now.
Pardon?
I'm sorry. Say that. What did you say?
I just had a couple of other resources that I wanted to share with the group for female entrepreneurs.
Okay.
They're not really related to Invest Atlanta, but they've been shared with me through my role. And so I've put this together in a PDF that
Okay.
I sent to you, Ariel, if you want to share with your group.
Oh, you already sent it? Okay.
I sent it this morning.
Oh.
And there's a fund called the Access Fund, which is provided by the TIE Atlanta Angels.
Okay.
And it's meant to close the mentoring and funding gap between women and minority-owned businesses. And the closing date for submissions is May 15th.
Okay.
And it looks like there's a timeline that started in April, and May's coming up, and then they're going to have a pitch event in August. So it's a long timeline. It looks like there's some opportunity for early stage companies that are female founded or minority owned to take advantage of this. So I put that in my PDF. And then I also learned, you all know about the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, which actually now has a dotted line to Invest Atlanta. And that cohort will be kicking off soon enough. But Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative is also, in addition to what Invest Atlanta has on our resources page, they've also put resources on their website as well. And you can also follow them on Instagram to see what the updates are. And then the final resource that I learned about that I wanted to share with you is you may have seen this about the Red Backpack Fund that the Sarah Blakely Foundation has released, where she's giving $5,000 to female entrepreneurs. So that's been sort of trending around on LinkedIn and some other places. So it's a pretty good opportunity. I mean, $5,000 can get you over a hump for a month or so. So I thought I would share that with the group.
Awesome. Thank you. So I will take a look at that package. And again, we put together a page specifically for the COVID-19. So anything we're feeding into that. I know we added the Spanx. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's also here in Atlanta. She put up $5 million actually to help fund women-owned businesses. So that application went live. We went ahead and pushed that out as well. So I am just going to say I appreciate you, Amy, for taking your time in talking about this. So when we say City of Atlanta, those businesses that are registered with the City of Atlanta, as far as your business license, that's who you're referring to as far as would have access to that particular set of funds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They have to be registered in the city, and often they need to have a lease as well. Unfortunately, the loan program doesn't touch the solopreneur and the work at home entrepreneur.
Right.
But the good news about the federal program is that it does. I mean, so when they release more money, independent workers who work from home or don't have an office space or work in like a WeWork or something like that,
right.
A co-working type environment, then they can access the federal money.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Was there anything else you wanted to leave with everyone, or did anyone have any specific questions that you guys can put inside the chat for Amy? Because I know Amy has to jump off, and then we're going to turn it over to Leah.
It's funny about the technology. Yeah. Well, no, I just think that taking advantage of these types of forums that you've put together, and a lot of incubators and accelerators are putting content online and
absolutely
trying to be a little more accessible and putting things out there for free. And I think even though it's hard, it's important for entrepreneurs to network and, to do business development. Some of these groups are still hosting virtual events. And so that's, I think, a good way to just stay connected in during this really odd limbo time. But I'm available for questions. My email is alove, ALOVE, @investatlanta.com. And happy for anyone to send me a note if you've got questions that I can answer, and just trying to stay connected into resources. And we appreciate the opportunity to get in front of the Southern Crescent Women in Business. Thank you, Ariel.
I appreciate you. I did have one more question. So
Okay.
you guys capped at 30,000, which is actually really high for individuals, businesses. I thought you guys were capping at 10,000. So if you guys are able to put additional funding, is there a discussion to maybe cap it at 10,000 so you can serve a larger group of individual businesses, and maybe look at additional how you will serve those solopreneurs?
So I have not been part of the loan development team, so I'm not sure what the conversations are about the loan amounts. They range from 5 and capped at 30, and so not every company is asking for the max amount. There has been discussions, and I've heard the feedback around something similar around, lower amounts. I can tell you that I certainly have been doing my best with partners in Atlanta and the technology and innovation community to try to identify what will be the best solution. We've toyed around with the idea of a grant program that has fewer and different parameters that would be better for startup companies and also those who don't have an office space. We've looked at some other cities, which is interesting, like New York and San Francisco, and the grant programs they've created for small companies with super low interest, or not all grants. Some of them are loan with super low interest rates, but then if they are grants, they seem to open up the boundaries a little bit on the requirements so that they can support, the whole range of business owners out there. And I know it can be frustrating for business owners who are not considered to be, more established in a retail space or having a year-long lease agreement. So the conversations are happening. I don't know what the result will be, though.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank
I'm glad to see you all.
My Carolina sister.
That's right. Go Gamecocks.
That's right. All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and let Amy off because Amy has to go to yet another.
Thank you for the chance to chat with everyone. And again, please reach out if I can answer any questions. And Leah, it was great to see you again.
You too as well, Amy.
Okay, wait, you got one question, Amy.
I do.
Coming in.
Okay.
Amy, I'm in the automotive industry. Mobile oil changes. I heard you mention that Invest Atlanta works with the tech industry. Are you able to connect me with someone to support in the automotive industry?
I'm sure we could discuss that. So please just send me a note and we'll set up a time to chat about it.
All right, Renee. You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Amy. I'll talk with you. I'll check out that package.
Yeah. And if you think, something you want to send around to the group, feel free.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right, Leah, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay. And just wanted to check and see, I only have a few slides to share, but just wanted to see if that was okay for me to share those with the group. Give me one moment to.
So while you're pulling up your slides, basically the Development Authority typically meets every once a month, usually prior to this COVID situation. That first Thursday, is it?
Yes, it's normally the first Thursday of every month at 9 a.m. has been our traditional time. We actually moved that up to 8 a.m. So for you guys that are early birds and like to get up early, once we get back to the routine schedule, it will be the first Thursdays at 8 a.m.
Okay. And is there any conversation to have any of those virtual meetings and still have them open for the public, maybe doing them live or a stream?
Yes, so we have switched to a Zoom platform, much like other departments within the county. And so our meetings will be posted on our website with the Zoom link. We have a call meeting on Monday It's going to be a very short meeting. We won't be discussing like our routine business, but if anyone wants to participate in that, it's Monday at 8 a.m. and the link will be available on the front page of our website at www.choosehenry.com.
Okay. All right. So your screen is up.
Awesome. So just wanted to tell a little bit about the Development Authority. This is our team. I'm going to just really brush through this. But we have a team of 4, and of course, our attorney is pictured there. Our board members, I wanted to share this because there's a tie-in with the county, and I wanted people to really realize how this works. Our board of directors are appointed by the board of commissioners from each district. And so that is the reason why we have a 5-member board. The great thing about our board, however, is that even though they do focus on their districts, they have a one Henry mindset. And so they work as a team to make sure that the growth and the investment that we're bringing into the county is going to benefit the entire county. So I wanted to share that. I shared the mission earlier, but I will kind of touch on that again, in that there are 3 things that we're primarily trying to do when it comes to bringing jobs and investment into Henry, and that is recruit new industry. So we market Henry County as the place to be and compel companies to choose Henry. But once they're here, that's where my role comes in working with those companies to retain them, make sure that they have the support they need in order to grow. And so just as you see the excited folks on this photo, that's how excited we are to grow opportunities in Henry County.
So when you talk about recruit, and I'll let you finish because you may cover this.
So when I'm talking about recruiting, it's more so the primary jobs. That's what we call them. These are jobs that can go anywhere. They may be your larger manufacturing, logistics, or professional services type of jobs. And so those are the companies that we work with. As you see our list of largest employers here, these are also companies that we work to locate here. Again, companies that could go anywhere, but we want to make sure that they choose Henry. I show this slide because for a number of reasons. One is that a lot of folks don't know that these are products that are made or shipped right in their backyard in Henry County, you know, from the eyeglasses that you wear to the paint that you're using, you know, to paint your house during this time, to the salad dressing that you're using from Ken's, or the Sweet Baby Ray barbecue sauce. All of those things are made right here in Henry County. And it's my job to make sure that on an ongoing basis, we're supporting these industries so that they continue to grow. I know that this is more on the larger employer side, but we also help to support our smaller businesses, but it's more so in partnership. What I mean by that is that we partner really closely with the chamber to promote a lot of the programs and co-sponsor a lot of the programs that are put on through the chamber, and also promoting the SBDC score. All of our partners that are experts when it comes to small business, that is not necessarily our wheelhouse. We don't have a staff person that has expertise, but what we do is we serve as a liaison and we connect small businesses to those resource partners. If that is clear. Again, just some of the who's that are here, but this is the good part. And then COVID-19. And so what changes for us in our day-to-day of how we're supporting businesses? I think the very first thing that we did was we sat down and we came up and drafted a strategy of what we were going to do during this time. And the first thing was we were going to make sure that communication was constant, and that we were constantly engaging our companies to check on them, to see how they were doing, to see if there's anything that we could do to assist, but also pushing out all of the information that we can. Much like the Women in Business resource page, we developed a business resource page for businesses and shared that with them. Also, we worked with the chamber to develop Together for Henry. I don't know if you've seen that website or not, but it's another useful website that has information more so for smaller business. And let me get to this page because this is one of the main things. We really don't do anything in isolation. We're regional. While we are focused on Henry County, we're really working with all of our counterparts throughout the Metro Atlanta region. We meet weekly on a call hosted by the Metro Atlanta Chamber with our counterparts throughout the Metro Atlanta region to see what they're doing. We're exchanging best practices. We're trying to figure out what can we do that we're not already doing to help our businesses. We also work really closely with the state in helping to identify companies that were in Henry that could manufacture or produce medical equipment and all of those PPE needs that were needed in the region. And so we were able to connect the state with companies like Ecolab that makes hand sanitizer, KIK that makes bleach, other companies that are really needed at this time. We were able to make those connections. And I think the biggest thing for us is our team, each week, we divide it up and we're reaching out to all of our major employers just to check in. And then we're coordinating with our chamber to make sure that they're reaching our small business. The same thing with our cities, because we realize that no one entity can do everything. And so working together, we're hoping to be able to reach everyone. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. I know that there is a loan program with the city of McDonough. The Development Authority has not issued a loan program yet, but that might be something that we discuss and look into doing, particularly now that there's a shortfall with the federal funds. I don't have a definite on that yet, but I think locally you're going to see more initiatives come to play to really fill that gap. And once we know what that looks like, I'll share that with you to share with the group. But that is, in a nutshell, the Development Authority and what we're doing right now. You know, as I talk to companies, there are some companies that this has been a tremendous impact on them. They've slowed down operations. Some of our larger employers have even had to stall operations temporarily, but others are growing. Others are hiring right now. And so it's our responsibility to kind of see where they are so we can match them with the support and resources that they need. And I don't want to go on and on. I think this is probably easier and better to be able to just address specific questions that participants might have than for me to go on any further. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that overview. And so we'll talk more about becoming also one of your resource partners. I know you guys have supported things that we've done. And we had a conversation prior to the start on some possible ways that we could partner to support our group, because we are, again, a group of women-owned businesses and women in business. So we want to make sure that information is filtered specific to this group. So did anyone have any specific questions for Leah in regard to the Development Authority and maybe their focus on smaller businesses? So I know one of the things, and I know you mentioned, and this is probably a little bit over the head of a lot of our individuals because they're not at that point yet. But, you know, one of the things the Development Authority does is provide bonding opportunities. So can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And I have to back up to kind of share what our target industries are, because those are the type of projects that we typically bond or will do a bond on. And those fall within manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, and professional services. To be honest,
what professional services? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So examples of that, of companies that are here already that fit into that, would be Georgia Power's Customer Care Center.
Okay.
As well as TSYS. They do credit card processing at their facility. So when we say professional services, that's kind of what we're talking about, your data center, call centers, not necessarily your smaller law firms and things like that, but it's more so kind of those larger data or contact centers.
Okay, awesome.
And so, and we have all of that spelled out in our incentive policy. And so that's why I wanted to start there. And now I'll kind of address the question that you had. So in order for it to make sense for a company to do a bond, and what a bond basically is, it allows you to be able to save or to achieve property tax savings. It's kind of, that's what it is. It's not a grant, it's not a loan like a lot of the programs that are being presented right now, but it's if you have an expansion project and you're growing and adding to your business and you're making an investment that is in one of those areas, then it might make sense for you to go through a bond for title transaction. What we have found traditionally is that if it is less than 10 million in investment, it wouldn't make sense for the company. And the reason why I say that is because they would spend more in the fees associated with processing the bond than they would save in property tax savings. So that's kind of where that is. And I entertain if there's anybody that is in growth mode. I know right now a lot of folks are just kind of pausing. A lot of the projects that we were working, thankfully they have not gone away, but they have just been put on pause for a moment. But if there is anyone that is growing right now and that would like to talk offline, please do reach out to me at lbrown@choosehenry.com. And I'll be happy to share more information about the bond process, or even answer questions that you have that are not answered on the platform today.
Okay, awesome. And again, you guys have a meeting on Monday. There hasn't been any conversation in regard to specifically the Development Authority providing a continuity fund. However, there has been talks as far as the county possibly, but the specifications aren't clear at this particular time. Our thought is, and just like Leah mentioned, because the federal, although we sent out an email today about the PPP and them not having those, them running out of funds as of yesterday, we in return also provided you another alternative in addition to that, and that was a grant that the U.S. Chamber has put together, which will launch April 20th. And so I know that the McDonough Council, specifically, I know Sandra Vincent, Councilwoman Sandra Vincent, we spoke with her after the initial fund was released. She tagged us in something on yesterday that mentioned that they have requested some funding from Congress. So we are our hope is that additional funding will be available through our local individuals. So what we may do is formulate actually something in writing to our cities, in our county and our counties, and actually urge them to take a little bit of a harder look. Of course, we don't just serve Henry, we serve Fayette and a few others. We've had Fayette leadership on. And I know a lot of the businesses that makes up their tax base. So when they're not, it's going to be a hit to the cities as well. But again, my thought is that we just got to get a little creative in how we provide support. So is there any questions, guys? Any comments, anything before I let Leah go? Any questions?
One question?
No questions. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I think we have covered everything, none that you can think of, but it was helpful. Okay. Again, most folks didn't understand that what the Development Authority did. I know we had folks who were, when things started to, happen, they were like, I'm calling everybody. And I'm calling the development authority. What are they doing? Everybody, I mean, they literally just were trying to, a lot of people just didn't understand certain roles that they played. However, let me just ask you this, Leah. So if there is going to be a continuity fund, who would need to authorize that? Is that your executive? Is that your board members? How does that work?
That would definitely require approval of our board to be able to authorize something like that. And like I said, I just because it hasn't been something that has been brought forth, to this point doesn't mean that it won't happen. But yeah, that would definitely be a recommendation from our executive director, and then it would require approval from our board to do something through the development authority. Now, if the county decided to do something through a different channel, that's different, but through the development authority, that's our process.
And are you guys labeled as a not-for-profit?
We are.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you guys are similar to an Invest Atlanta. So if the county were to authorize certain funding and they channel it through you guys as a continuity fund, then it would be almost in a grant form, just like, or a loan, however.
Most likely I would imagine that it would be a loan. I don't know that the county or the development authority has the funds to be able to do a grant type program right now, unless there was some type of federal program that was funneling through the county. But most likely I would imagine it would be a loan.
And just one more question, and I know, so because nonprofits, this was one of their first times that they were included in any SBA funding, because you guys are considered a 501, did no one think about going after some funding to create an additional grant or funding option for small businesses under the Development Authority?
So our status, and I was trying to look through it now, we're not your traditional nonprofit organization. We're a public authority. We're a constitutional authority. And so things are a little bit different in terms of being able to do that and go after those types of funds. I really would have to ask our attorney how we would even do something like that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think if we did entertain anything locally, it probably would be some type of loan program using our own funds rather than trying to secure some federal funding.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, I don't have any additional questions. Anything else, we can talk offline about. If there are any additional questions for Leah or myself, please let us know now. Just want to make sure we are bringing you information. Again, we sent out information that the PPP funds were exhausted as of this morning. We sent that out this morning. In addition to, we also provided the link for you to put your email address in the U.S. Chamber. They're kind of logging that, so you get the notification when that particular application goes live, but it literally tells you the application goes live at noon on April 20th. So what does that mean? You set yourself a reminder in your phone. You make sure your paperwork and everything else is together prior to April 20th, and you make sure that you are going after those funds. Because they're actually, I believe those are grants. So then that means that's not money you even have to pay back. So again, we also shared with you that at least in our private Facebook group, we were on a call with one of the congressmen on yesterday, and they will most likely be replenishing the PPP funding. So if you already put in an application, I would just encourage you not to get discouraged. And I will definitely talk with Leah about being a resource partner and seeing how we can get plugged in as well, just so we're not having to channel and funnel through a whole lot of other things. Again, we have a dedicated page. It's scwibga.org/COVID-19. It's specific to women-owned businesses. There was a Verizon grant. We put that on there. There was a $5 million grant from Spanx. Most people don't understand and realize Spanx is here in Atlanta. So we are making sure that we're bringing you timely information as much as possible. Again, if you have any questions, just let us know. Leah, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Everyone, you have an amazing Friday.